Oh yeah, that's right. Nice, an adventure. Some other time. Back to the story.
Whatever business you're in, you gotta keep up with the changing times.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Hyman didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but everyone seemed pretty fired up, huh? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Huh?
What's wrong?
Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all.
What?
Then what's that?
It was a ghost.
Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's this?
Who's that voice? But there's no one here.
Aw, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are familiar. You're the voice we heard from the sky in Sumeru.
The voice from the sky, hmm? I fear that description is wrong. Though, not completely wrong.
Huh? I don't remember that part.
You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Guiding people is an irresistible hobby of mine, after all.
Who are you?
Consider me a passerby, just accepting a commission from my friend's disciple on a whim.
Your friends. Are we talking about Nahida?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesized will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
Maybe.
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must reach out to change. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Tevat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
I don't wanna.
This was good tea, by the way. Thank you for your hospitality. Well, that'll be all for today.
Who are you?
The voice. It's gone. What? I want to hear someone talking. All right, coming. Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird panel. It turned out to be more interesting than I expected. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the inn to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparations. I agreed, so we had a brief chat with her.
Did she have pink hair by any chance?
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I assume you've heard of her, no? I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but...
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Ah, yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the gods to be all-knowing, right?
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well, so...
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. She didn't say when or what that would be, though, so perhaps it is something that you cannot know right now. Traveler, Mama, are you two all right?
Yep.
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right.
I see. I feel that same sense. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen, it cannot be swayed. But even so, I still hope for and believe in miracles. Astrology is eternal and rational, but fate may not be. It is cruel, but it can also be beautiful. Perhaps that's what En was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't.
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I suppose that might be why we always seem to meet.
Paimon feels kinda moved by what Mona said. But also kinda sad, too. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like going outside. Huh? Our names are written in this newspaper. Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy, but that does not mean that others cannot interact with it. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Huh. Thus did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report. A blonde adventurer with their white fairy legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this mysterious traveler once visited the underwater fortress. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us and we never even noticed her. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us at this... seriously? Well, fine. Those headlines and photos do look cool, so Paimon will forgive her this time. We're here! Paimon... Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go!
1 slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he always say something like that.
It's true, Paimon can't eat.
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily, yes, and you can only lift their spirits by feeding them delicious food. So please try the cakes here.
Aw.
I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time, and the flavor gets even better. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here.
Gosh.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh, have you seen the article I wrote about you?
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used us to make some quick mora!
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss just that. It appears you didn't receive it, though. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table with some food.
Really? Oh, you're the best!
Food. That's all you gotta say is food.
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were...
Oh, Paimon knows you're not like that.
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
A friend of ours met you a while back, and when she mentioned it, we thought of coming to see you. Her name's Mona.
Ah, so you know Miss Mona as well. She's a guest columnist for our paper. Really good one, too. She's so young and already such a brilliant astrologist. So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist.
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist...
Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't count?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the...
Yeah, are we even qualified enough?
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare.
Oh, in that case, we'll just chat when you have the time then?
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply for lighting, a venue, some... Whew, so much to get done now. Talk to you later.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example...
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear it. If you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And secondly, I wouldn't forsake my homeland that easily. From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better just to behave like normal rather than worry over such an end. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. That sounds a bit sad, but I've always believed that it's best to do what you enjoy. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still successfully finish an exclusive interview with a truly unique person, then the story I would want... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to the I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that I was born to be a journalist. But anyway, that's my answer. And on that note, I'll get back to my preparations.
That's so nice. All of a sudden. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow, where would we go and what would we... No, Paimon should ask if... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much... You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait, isn't that what we've always been doing? Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure. It's not only damp...
Ah, so the two of you are still here. Wonderful.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia, aren't you?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Mero. Not at all. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée fan...
A riot?
Well, that said, I don't personally think it... Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally...
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods.
So what happened after that is...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, the Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only...
So, you mean she's still missing?
Is she holed up in her room?
That's right. The Maréchaussée has dispatched many people to search for her. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Good. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to tell you...
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go on. Thanks for keeping us informed.
Ah, is that so? Well, all right then. In that case, you two take care. I'll be...
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. Instead, she'll look for a place to wait out the heat. And, as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic. When Nervillet was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard it would be hard for her to ignore being... Paimon thinks Farina's probably taking... Huh! Well, what do you think? In that case, there's none of...
Farina.
That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Should I just give up? This is all meaningless. What was meant to happen did happen after all. Everyone's dead. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding out. I'm sorry.
Who are you apologizing to?
But what can I even do other than to repeat meaning? Who's that?
It's us.
Don't worry, Farina, it's just us.
So,
Oh, shut up.
Farina, you were crying just now, weren't you?
what do you mean, tear stains?
Who did that uncivilized rap? They even dare to tout their archon! Oh, and I'm sure Neuvillette and those people from the Maréchaussée Phantom are Of course not!
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Great, now I got beat up dudes.
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are...
Farina just ran off.
Oh, let's follow.
We have to catch up. This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Fine, I suppose I...
Alright, now it's just us. Time to pry in for...
Paimon's exhausted.
Paimon, how are you exhausted? It can't be that hard to fly faster.
No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they...
You're right. Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground...
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's happening again.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Novelette's made some emergency plans, so the evacuation should go a lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But the people of Poisson, they've already... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways too to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. And give up. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times, especially after we almost lost Poisson. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only just started to come true, and so many people have already lost their lives.
Fate can be changed.
But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, it's still not too late. Don't worry. Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to... Don't take any of what I just said seriously.
Come on! Paimon could have sworn...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this... A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stars, yes. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a if that's the case...
Tell us. Your people are dying. Tell us. Huh? How? What? How'd you do that? What? Lenny, horrible timing. We were about to get
Ladies
info.
and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So, this is what it is. Yes, do not forget, however, that I am
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuses
I raised my hands just now to indicate my I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history.
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who will be
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were...
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean...
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may...
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Arrhenius. Was an archon. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of... We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel...
So, in other words,
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess, Nervilette, you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and also that as soon as I appeared...
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Now, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto this... Oh? It's fine. It matters. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too. Oh, let Paimon see. Wait, then that means this document? So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the cave. This is the first time Monsieur Neuvillette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro... A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary... The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed. According to Monsieur Neuvillette, I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. To be honest, the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens to you.
Interesting. So this is the recap. Alright.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Where's her defense attorney? Obviously, he's never played a Phoenix Wright's Ace Attorney.
Oh, come on, Neuvillette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon.
No way, you spoke!
Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon.
Charge accepted.
Uh-oh.
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Nope. And we could thank the House of the Hearst father for that one.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. See? Even the Oratrice has to, if you wish, to drop the cave.
An argument with near impossible odds, huh?
Well, I tried to give you the and if I was not the
The knave. She attacked Farina, remember? And the Gnosis wasn't on her, and she could tell there was something odd.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there could be other ways to extend your life.
Wait, is she from Conura?
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by...
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house. Or...
Oh yeah, child was convicted. He was freaking convicted. And he was innocent too.
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty without any proof? Otherwise, you should have come up with a good explanation for that by now.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current... While the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law must come before all else. You will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue...
I never thought...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules of the court. Rules that all should respect and follow.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the real Hydro Archon, haven't they?
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has been operating. You can't argue that just because a divine...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no...
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm
you don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archon. Thus did I...
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's
Hey, come now, everyone! I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Probably not.
Enough! That's enough.
Probably just you.
Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's
Wow, she came up with yet another argument.
Would that be it?
That doesn't sound right.
No? Okay. What about this? The water dissolving, right?
It's been established that all Fontaine...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this really... Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson, including those of some of my closest friends. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you.
All it should do is strengthen your case. But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people dissolve. I do hope you'll act prudently and shoot
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian.
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
True.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession of guilt.
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she really
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you...
What?
Hey!
I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien.
Siegewien?
Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should...
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court, Miss Siegewien.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina, you may return to the
So
defendant's
she
stand.
confirmed she's reacting like, you know, like Firma May.
Oh wait, what did she just say? I didn't get to—
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to serve as an expert witness. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used. Farina could have...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone. Please don't give me such... Think about it. How can you... Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to just put my hand in that kind of water?
She's lost their hope. They don't believe her.
Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your archon.
Farina, I'm sorry.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. The odds are just too...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think that...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
What's happening?
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway
Oh,
anyone.
is she snapping?
Against her now.
Farina, don't do anything stupid.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty.
Farina, this kind of wouldn't have happened.
We shall now
if
turn
you
to the
tell
Oratrice
us.
Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges.
kinda did it to herself.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is...
Guilty?
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus. The Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
What? Wait, there is such a thing?
Death sentence?
Is that the duel thing?
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to is this sentence really appropriate for...
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the...
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina had... But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the type...
Does it mean the actual Hydro Archon? Yeah, Hydro Archon?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt.
Fremine!
Is the trial still going?
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father is...
Wait, did he find the final stone flake?
That the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for Fremine to try and find the missing slate.
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around some dangerous stretches of water. But has the trial already concluded? Then... doesn't...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon we've been kinda talking about?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the... The first stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Does that mean that Fontanians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worshipping it together. But the heavens still brought judgment down upon them. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontanians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people? Huh. That reminds Paimon, didn't we also watch that happen to someone else? Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro Archon crying on her throne, and so on. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after that incident, it was just a question of when and not if.
Alright. They can be dissolved. But she was protected, so.
It's not as simple as falling into the sea. When the stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea, could that be alluding to the same thing?
Okay, fine. Move on to the next one. I'm not good at this, am I? Yeah, that's true. She is. Oh, shut up, Paimon.
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society, but not many people believed it at first. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. It seems if we hadn't dealt with it in time.
Is it this one? No way.
We know from the case of the Seer, and the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans.
No? Okay, what about you? No? Seriously? Well, this is the only thing we have left.
Perhaps what is about to take place has all happened before. And the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celeste.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an Oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take part in a trial meant to make her stay. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign. The prophecy's contents can all be verified by Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you can make sense of it. But then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible. Linny, did you hear that?
We're not real humans.
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with Oceanids as their basis.
Interesting.
The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into Oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape of Oceanids.
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient sin.
The Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon with...
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect so many pieces of the truth. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer of hidden information using it. When we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information recorded in the slates. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative.
Well?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine as well. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontainians and the sin of the Hydro Archon were in the Fontaine of old. The previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land.
So she granted it to them?
The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon their desire to become of a similar kind. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial sea. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics in the process. But if Fontainians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. As a result, their forms would collapse, and they would be reverted to their original forms as Oceanids. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the people of Fontaine first came into being.
So we were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
Dang.
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontainian.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective... A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water, they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water from the primordial sea. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, the water in the scene symbolizes judgment. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others who intended to hold a trial to determine her fate. Therefore, the meaning of the third slate is that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice. Yes, it refers to our present situation.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold. So now...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will also be fulfilled soon?
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deductions. About the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served as the surest sign that the prophecy was about to come to pass, yes? However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before. This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Oh, I gotta click. Is it the whale?
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea, right?
The truth, the original sin, the trial, and the root cause of the disaster.
Uh-oh. Is it happening? Dang, it's here! We can do something, right? It's Child! Child, you're here! Although you're using your delusion, and that's not a good thing either. It is not happy. You got out! We still have your vision, by the way. Oh no, he's going back in quick. We gotta go after him. It's still open, right?
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the opera house?
Shut up, Paimon. We gotta go after him.
Was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand that whale does not belong to Teyvat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea. And once it has finished consuming all of the—
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians at—
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanian. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make—
We just barely managed to push it.
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with— Anyway, now that we know that this—
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea. Even if the entirety of Teyvat were to be destroyed, it could—
That's not— We've already done everything we can.
Let's go.
We've come so far.
Let's go.
Indeed. That's not—
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Nah, we'll kick his butt.
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
Yeah, we can.
Just as prophecies are usually only the future.
Yeah, that's right.
Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in Teyvat's future. All you need to do is to play your part.
Let's go after a child looking exhausted for once.
What's happening with the aura trees?
The whale is probably stealing all the power.
It is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
Where did we go? What happened? Did I just poof? Is this the real Hydro Archon?
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The real Archon.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles?
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria, for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this confounding conundrum. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race of humans, I dare say she left me quite a colossal mess to clean up. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiars.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand?
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera ever known. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles.
She was perfect, so I cursed her.
Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? The Hydra Archon alone, weeping on her throne. In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy, under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the prophecy, all to create a deceitful appearance of that prophecy coming to pass. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human being. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure. It must have been torture for her.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Alright, talk. Archon to Archon.
Oh? Who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your... All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you.
Don't look at me, don't look
There
at me.
is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not just... Oh, do not jest. Can you not
Please, if
feel
only
it?
for a second.
I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and nobility.
Can't even tell Zhongli, your old pal.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough.
flicker. Diffract.
Hey. Huh? Get here.
Kick your butt. Nice.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards?
They're right here.
Guards!
Kicking the butt.
A process of elimination.
Order guide you.
Yep. Huh?
Rise!
Come here.
Solidify!
Scene 1. Before a mirror, Farina. Oh? Wait, am I Farina now? Dang.
Farina. Farina. Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you? Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you. Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can this be? Mirror you, huh? You know what? That's not bad. Let's go with that.
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think. I don't know why, but it's in my head somehow. The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain.
Oh.
What's going on?
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance to turn things around. It is the reason why you met me today. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Oh, so there's still... As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side, and...
You truly are the perfect human. My ideal. I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as... a god?
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But should you...
But how will I do this?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans imagine them to be. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, your true challenge...
I'm still not sure I understand, but I'll try. So, how long?
To accomplish this mission, you will have to stay on the stage for many, many years. You will endure and not grow old until your task ends, but I promise you...
A trial, huh? How exciting. I'll be looking forward to it.
Scene 2, Ascension speech for Rena.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydra. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, once again, thank you all for coming. I thought I might stammer, but thankfully...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses him...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the difference between her and an ordinary person, then?
Unfortunately, this is what humanity has come to be.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone Right. Mirmi said that... Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive, with a strong sense of presence. Oh, very good, my people. Only ones such as you are deserving of my rule. Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to Well, it seems that you would all see right through that. You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it... Now then, let it...
So that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an opera house?
Her personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for... We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. The scales of justice shouldn't... May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us... There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot... So long as I, the
Silence. Scene 3, Opera House, Farina. Oh, I can run now. This is a small bed.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports as well as...
Come now, was I not... Besides, none of these trials were the one that I'm looking forward to the most.
If I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial. A trial to...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to grasp...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties.
Lady Farina, I don't know what to say.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of all right. Deuteria, is it?
You remember? He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one...
Oh, good. Very good.
You're such a gentle and what?
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports. As for the...
I see. It's as I thought, then. As your god, I did all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget it.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine...
Really? Have they found anything?
I'm afraid that they...
Oh, is that so? Well, no. The day is finally over. I haven't had a moment to breathe this whole time, but it's good to see that everything's getting on track. Maybe this is fine. I just... All right.
Scene 4. We're not going to go through 500
Lady
years
Farina,
of this,
here are
we?
the new trial reports for the latest cases as...
There'll be no need.
Lady Farina,
Indeed, my dear loyal...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological...
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me informed should anything come up at the Institute. I don't think I let anything slip today. I must show the people that there is nothing to worry about. I just don't know when these days will end. I feel utterly exhausted.
Dang.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you.
And what a fine family you're... What is it, good citizen?
Are you crying?
Uh-huh. Really now? I didn't even notice. This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. can't quite help being the god who's...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your...
so interminable. So lonely. Just how much longer?
She's got a lonely sickness, doesn't she?
Hundreds of years must have passed by now. Perhaps the show must go on for hundreds more. I never imagined that it would hurt so much. Have I reached my limit? No. Perhaps I reached it long ago. Today I didn't even notice my own tears. I want to tell someone, anyone, about this. But would that not destroy all I've done so far?
Surely you could have told Neuvillette. He's a dragon. He's been probably around longer than you.
I've conducted so many investigations across the centuries, but there's not even a sliver. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain this.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden alone, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone. Your people...
Share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start.
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, you can still choose to just share it with me.
A witness. And if Tevat is in it... If that's the case... He's right. I could confide in him, couldn't I? But if things don't play out as No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if... What if it... Farina... You've worked so hard for so... Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? If you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, it might never come by again. Think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth? You've never once let her in on the full plan?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive the heavenly principles, you must first deceive yourself. She did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, Fontaine would have been doomed to the most tragic fate. It seems that trusting humanity was the right decision after all.
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the issue. I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine, yes?
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human voice within the core chamber. It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understanding, in truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she has been placed. I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful repose while Farina suffered? My work over these last 500 years has been to constantly accumulate indemnitium within the Oratrice. But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated to enact this death sentence.
It was all a part of your plan, then? Both the trial and the sentence?
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia had it only been used for that purpose. Almost all of it has now been stored within the Oratrice. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent, you must be...
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to the Hydro Dragon of this planet.
But...
Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign. And this is the face you make.
all you've done throughout the years is just so you can sacrifice yourself at the very end.
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how well my deception worked. Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essentially the same crime? Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possessed. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original powers should be returned to you? Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was Fontaine's original sin, then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans and their right to exist in this world would be Fontaine's original justice. In other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to me, justice is the continuation of that existence, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall live on. That should be the justice enthroned over all others. At this point, we, whether it be myself or all other Fontainians, have shouldered the burden of this sin for far too long. Iudex Neuvillette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an elemental sovereign, what verdict shall you pass upon us?
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, I see now that that was your idea too. At last. I now understand the true purpose behind this position. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually brought about mutual understanding between us. And I have even attempted to feel as they feel. You are a devious one, Focalors. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Thank you for all that you've done. From this moment on, please live happily as one, just as I wish we could.
I, Iudex Nervalette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of mystery?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dis-
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
But didn't you say just a-
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast that enacts the prophecy. Come with me, traveler. The hour of execution has come.
Alright, we're finally gonna kick the whale's butt. Poor child has been fighting it for who knows how long. He's probably sick and tired of it.
They're going to execute it? But how are we going to do that? It's
powerless to separate the power of the primordial sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source.
Dang, man.
Unless
So are we just
you
dodging?
can find a way to attack it from within.
Dodging.
I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together.
Dang, man.
Stabilize! I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Dang, man. There we go. Made one hit.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Change will present itself.
So what happened? Here it comes. What's happening? What? Okay.
What is there a hole thingy over there? It looks really scary.
Cow is fast.
Flicker. I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Stabilize!
Here you are.
Oh, I see now. I see.
Solidify!
Almost. You gotta wait until it goes into a ball again. Leave me alone.
Gather!
Come on. Do the thing.
Defract!
What's happening? There's no way, it's not down yet. Yeah, I knew it. Like, where is it going? Huh? You look kind of like Bronya, but no. Did she just yeet, child? She just yeeted, child.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well.
Who are you?
It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder. I suppose I'll have to swing my sword 3 million times as penance.
So Child's your disciple, you just yeeted him through the hole.
That power. Who are you exactly?
Are you the top harbinger?
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was the less talkative person.
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, managed to defeat the all-devouring narwhal without using power from beyond this world. so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an all-devouring narwhal. That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks.
True.
All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point being?
Well, being that this pet almost destroyed an entire nation. So what sort of person is your master? Well, child's master's master.
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, I assumed you did. His name is Sertologi.
Huh?
I am unfamiliar with that.
So he's from beyond the stars like us?
Huh. So Master isn't sufficiently famous. How should I describe him then? Have you heard of the name The Fowl?
The Fowl?
Still nothing? Well...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually know them either. But I suppose you understand now, yes? My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-Daughter. They are both pursuing some form of perfection.
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary...
Actually, never mind that. I believe that the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into chaos. In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be in full swing.
What?
Not to worry. Focalor has already managed to deceive the heavenly principles.
Poor Neuvillette. He had to watch her pass away.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Hey! Help! Over here!
They're not dissolving. Hey, it's the ship that the Duke was making.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue! Hurry! Hey, lend a hand! Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
We're saved.
The prophecy was wrong.
What happened to child? He was yeeted out of existence.
The soil renewed. The Svina Divasula tax post-disaster rebuilding. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia Stick. Skyship Winglet, lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute. With Jury, people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve... Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jury or not?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. The value for these big scoops lies in their inevitable follow-ups. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true flying ship. Well, not...
Paimon's curious too! Wait a minute.
And that's exactly why I'd like you to come conduct interviews with me. You're the best incubators of news if you have...
Are you sure? Hasn't he turned you down several times already?
Oh, this time will be different. Come on!
She is still desperate. Alright, I guess we're gonna go and go to Poussin. We're in Poussin now. Here. Cutscene.
Navia!
Oh, it's a
Oh,
Fatui.
it's you. What brings you all here?
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supplies, and is helping with our work. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely. We've lost a lot of people, but we're moving forward. That will have to be enough.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as the Spina.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible.
That would be fine. Thanks.
Dave's like,
you're
I don't
back
need
too.
too much publicity.
How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be...
Huh? You're here?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know...
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better...
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do...
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more...
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up.
Aw, Paimon looks adorable.
Was it a good shot? Did Paimon look cute in it?
Yes, Paimon, you looked cute in it.
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news. And also, not to brag, but I'm wow, you really
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed.
That's a very...
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did I told him that it was best not to speak too soon.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with the...
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting.
You should offer the Duke tea in exchange.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgic feeling to this place.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance to greet us?
Of course. I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom our good head nurse recommended to me.
You could thank the nurse.
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke. Thank you for consenting to my visit to the fortress, sir.
No need to thank me. But that said, I shouldn't be the focus of your interview. I trust you recall our agreement?
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
He sounds tired.
Hey, no need to be so nervous. Miss Charlotte.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't want her fate.
Sir, please don't say things like that.
But it looks like dear Mr. Jurier denies it.
No, I just... This is my...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually did meet Mr. Edwin once. And I'll be honest, I enjoyed chatting with you more. You've the boat that brought about a miracle, the ark that saved the people. Why, you recreated a myth back there, like an emissary of legend. Still, if I might ask, where's that...
Huh. Looks like Charlotte's trying to...
I have to apologize, but that ship is presently in the bowels of our factory.
Really? Well, then in that case, could I have an...
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps you'd like to take another photo of this couple of researchers?
Did you really have to use the word couple?
I love it. They still think that those two are in love with each other in secret.
Well then, 2 solo photos.
Is my hair messed up? Please, someone help me have a look.
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to try this new drink I came up with?
Oh no.
Ah, Sigewine.
Hey, Miss Charlotte. Why don't... sure. Come on, Miss Sigewine. Over this way.
Huh? Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been at the fortress?
Same old, as you can see. Fontaine's undergone some changes, but this place is still more or less the same.
Other than that flying ship, it got a tad too much attention, I think.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through. We should direct more public opinions toward the behind-the-scenes heroes. Am I right, Mr. Jurier? Miss Lorvine?
You're too kind, sir. I believe that you too should have your day in the sun. Not that you would want that, which is a pity.
I'll just leave the spotlight to you two. I see. Lots of things happened that day, huh? Anyway, regarding that Harbinger, I'm not sure you remember, but his 3 young followers are still waiting for his return.
He sure did win them over, huh?
I'll tell them that there's good news and bad news. The good being that their boss seems fine, and the bad being that they must face extended sentences for abetting his escape.
Oh, actually, what about you? Are things gonna change for you too?
What change can there be? The fortress will keep chugging along, and so will my duties. As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in the overworld.
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
He's like, it's not my problem. It's Nouvelle's problem.
Good. In that case, let's call it a day here.
Thanks for your cooperation. Come on, Traveler, let's go. Till next time, everyone.
There'll be a next time?
Maybe. Who knows? I might write a story about the underwater. All right, last stop, the docks.
There'll be a next time. He's like, no, no next time. Oh my gosh, it's far away. Actually, you know what? Why am I calling it when I could just jump? Could just jump, you know? Where am I going? Right there? There? Alright. Right there. Nice. Power strike. Cutscene.
Navia mentioned that she stayed in touch with Linny and the others after working together. Apparently they...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte, too.
Would you like a magic pocket?
What sort of gadget is it?
It's a wondrous bag that can be used to carry many things. The water level has returned to normal, but if you see any of your things floating around, you can use this to carry them. Or you could trick a friend into doing it for you.
Trick a friend? I wonder...
Yeah, don't look at us.
You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine?
Is this what you meant by, I'll help you make some more friends?
Yeah, that's what she meant.
To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have your contact, please?
Sure.
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to assist in our magic shows.
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear as an assistant, and later Fremine himself. In the future, I think we can leave underwater escape magic to him too.
That said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
True. True.
Oh, it'll work out. Every journey begins with the first step. He'll become a part of our show eventually.
Lynette, could you come over?
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. She got rid of everyone the moment she realized I had something to say to you. Father says that you did a great deal during the latest events. She's very grateful for your contributions to Fontaine.
That's all right. We were more than happy to help. So, what's she doing now?
Oh, I guess you haven't heard. Well, after Lady Farina left, Father and Monsieur Neuvillette opened negotiations, during which he gave Fontaine's gnosis to her as a diplomatic gift.
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
Yes, I was quite surprised at first myself. But when I thought it over, there were actually a number of things going for it. It could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal down. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to Fontaine and Poisson.
Well, that's true, but this isn't...
I would agree, but I've also heard that...
So there's some reason for this, though.
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah, yes, speaking of which...
Isn't he real busy and stuff? But back to the topic. The gnosis was given to the knave, right? What about Child?
Yeah, what happened to Child? Last we saw, his bastard yeeted him through a space.
They say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
Well, yeah, he was using his delusion. Hey, wait a minute, we still have his vision.
When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the Fatui. To think we'd be allied with them this time.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Oh, it's the knave!
Father. Well, well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance. Please do not pay my accomplishments in Fontaine too much mind. I would have done them regardless.
Are you going to take the Gnosis back to Snezhnaya?
That is our duty as harbingers, yes. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or person, but the entire world. With such a grand goal in mind, it is inevitable that we must wear many masks. Switching my masks is something I've always done. Well, that depends on many things. No one truly knows what the future holds. What good is honesty if you can't rely on it forever? As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners.
Aw, thanks.
A vision?
Oh yeah, that's right, we have his vision.
All right. I'll remember to return it. Thank you for keeping it safe for him this entire time.
Yeah, make sure it gets to him since we're not gonna see him again.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh? You...
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Oh no.
Hello. If I'm not...
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like about our dear magicians and our upcoming rookie talent.
I will.
The sea breeze is quite pleasant. Oh, I shall
Farewell,
Farewell.
Father.
Thanks for taking it. I thought we were gonna have to hang on to it forever.
Oh, she has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-scheduled interview.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before you go? Here, Traveler, Paimon, you take one too.
To move things about?
That's right. Funny. I was giving out magic pocket. I guess this must be life. All right then. We'll be handing out pockets and some other...